Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, July 16th, Amazon Prime Day. Not that that's really helping me any. Because of that, because it's Monday, I really only need to play this one Paladin card, then I need to move over to the European account. So let's hop in and play one Paladin game and then we'll be fine enough. I may re-roll the win 2 victories with the mage card tomorrow and try to get some more gold. Now would be the time to re-roll and get more gold since we are getting double gold right now per quest. So moving a 50 gold challenge to a 60 gold challenge doesn't increase it by 10 gold, it increases it by 20.
I will fight.
And if I can get 100 gold challenge, by all means, take it. Let's see. Just take this Paladin card and hold on to it so we know. We've got a game on Steam called Survival Island. This is basically an asset flip. You can tell by the name. It looks very pretty. We've certainly hit that point where all these Survivor Rust-like games have so much assets that they can flip that it looks rather good. But the problem at this point is making a Survivor realistically animated game is such a cliche that it makes no sense to do. Like, it's so generic. The Culling 2, for instance, it came out and failed immediately for the same reason. They just came out with a generic battlegrounds PUBG clone, and there's just the market's so flooded with that already with just Fortnite and PUBG. There's not enough room for a third battle royale game. And the market is so flooded with Minecraft and Rust and a few other survival games that they caught on. There's no more room for survival games. We've got a game on Steam called Lost Lands Ice Spell. This says it's an adventure casual hidden object game. These hidden object games always are really weird, and how over animated they often seem to be. Like, I'm seeing a full-on trailer with all kinds of magical creatures wandering around this ice world.
I don't need any of you.
This seems to be like Ice Giant Nordic storyline, but it's just a hidden object game. I kind of wonder if game ideas just get sold, or a half-developed game just gets sold to people and they just make a hidden object game out of it. Like, the developer and publisher of this is 5-bin Games, 5-BN Games. It's selling for $6.99, which would be about £5.19. So if it's a 5 British Note Games, in the name they know what they're doing. That being said, as far as hidden object games are concerned, most of the games developed and published by this developer are rated positively, so I should probably put it in my wish list and keep an eye on it. Unlike the big fish games that make hidden object games that are $20 to start with and are these crazy collector's editions, or they're labeled as collector's editions for no reason. This is a much more reasonable price to start with, at least, and see if maybe they go down cheaper later on. We have a experiment of a game. This is like it looks like a student project that somebody would do in the first or second year of computer programming in college. It's called Voice Shooter, quote, Piff Paff, and it's a non-widescreen scroll to the top shooter game, arcade style space shooter that is controlled by you saying certain phrases like boom boom or piff puff into the microphone, which I don't think I would want to do that. I don't think I'd ever would want to do that. And frankly, I don't know how I'd review that game because I can't talk then, can I? If I have to talk to the computer. There's been a couple of games out that have been made, certainly, that are voice controlled, but I don't think any of them have ever actually worked, which is kind of crazy. You'd think that with Amazon Alexa and Google Echo and all of them, that they would have some kind of API that you can put in the games, or at least PC games, and have them actually work. Let's see. This game, Piff Paff, is 25% off for $1.49. It's not worth buying, certainly. Next game we have on Steam is called The Life's Lane. It says it's a casual indie simulation adventure game. Doesn't look great. It looks like it's a montage of flipped 2D assets. It's probably a troll game, frankly. Yeah. The background on this game is so full of garbage that I can't even tell what the game is, but what I can tell looks awful. It's $6.99 and The Life's Lane is not worth talking about anymore. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article, How Metal Wolf Chaos is coming to the PC after 14 years. I think the story is kind of pretty obvious that the Digital Devolver, I think jokingly, and I don't think any of this was like pre-planned, asked, what games do you want us to announce a re-release for? And they were just like, any random game, we'll publish it. And somebody who I think worked for Metal Wolf Chaos said Metal Wolf Chaos, and they said maybe. And then I think at that point they actually got in contact with them. If there was negotiation before this, it was a pretty good effort on Digital Devolver to hype up and make something feel natural that was actually a negotiated plan. Why Metal Wolf Chaos? Probably because it is an unknown game, and a basically unknown game works pretty well for Digital Devolver. Yep, the story here is Devolver does a joke tweet. And it was from that joke tweet, or at least that's how what they're saying is happening. And of course, what they're doing here is they're hyping up a probably bad, probably unknown game for no real reason. It's gonna sell initially better than it should, but after that point, it's gonna once again just like disappear. But I'm glad it's coming to PC. Certainly, I can't disagree with games coming to PC. I love when that happens. I'm just gonna end my turn here because I have 9 cards to play next turn. PC Gamer has an article, is Amazon Prime worth it for game? Here's what an Amazon Prime subscription gets you and why Amazon's Twitch ecosystem makes it worth it all. I think it's very much worth it because you're getting these free games from the Twitch per month, assuming you're going to Twitch at least once a month and clicking it. And the Amazon Prime Day giveaways of games for the past week have been really, really good. A lot better than the entire year up until this point. Let's see. The price for Amazon Prime is like $119 or $60 for students. So get it while you're a student and keep it for as long as you possibly can. I think they will eventually figure out you're no longer a student after a while. But job's done. The Prime Day deals, so far I haven't seen a lot of them that are great. Usually you can get like SD cards and memory cards and things like that on a decent deal. Kind of depends on what you have and what you don't have. Then the Twitch Prime games are pretty good. For me personally, the faster speed shipping is not useful because I get packages in about the same time either way. I just happen to be in a centrally located enough location that happens to one of their warehouses. However, free shipping on things and not having to worry about, do I really need to buy this now or do I need to find $25 more so I can get over $35 to get free shipping, is certainly nice. If you do 3 or 4 purchases in a year with Amazon, and you're buying like $10 or $20 of extra stuff you wouldn't have bought anyways, you're approaching the point where the free shipping alone. Prime Video, I like that certainly. So you can watch a lot of movies on Prime Video and a few things. There are a few TV series. By far, I still spend 90% of all my time watching Netflix over Amazon Prime, but every now and then I will just go to Amazon Prime and say, hey, let's see what they've got. They have some original content that you really can't get any other way. 2 games, any class, destroy 35 minions. 12 minions that cost 5 or more. Let's get rid of that one. And then we're gonna have to keep on playing Paladin. Oh well. At least on the... Nope, it's the same old Murloc Paladin. At least we're making progress to rank 20. I don't have an Amazon Prime Rewards Visa signature card. I don't think I probably should get that credit card. Although it does give you 5% cash back on all purchases from Amazon.com or Whole Foods Market.
I will fight with honor.
So that's kind of nice. Although there are credit cards that will give you 5% cash back on all purchases, which is a lot more realistic. I was hoping Amazon's Prime Day this year would be a percentage off all purchases, and I guess the only way I could have done that is if I got the Amazon Visa card, and I don't really want to do that. Let's see. And PC Gamer has a updated article, the best Prime Day PC gaming deals for Amazon, Newegg, and more. And let's see, it says click here to head to the Amazon's PC gaming page, and click here to see the Newegg deal. And then it's just talking about deals I've already mentioned. That, for the most part, none of them are good deals unless you were planning on purchasing a computer in the very recent amount of time.
The light dims. Repent.
See, and even as a person who's planning on buying a video card in the next 6 months to a year, I still don't see a great deal. Amazon has like a racing wheel 50% off for still $200. I'd love to get a racing wheel, but I wouldn't do that. See, I don't know if I've gotten to the point where I'm seeing European deals. This page is a little bit more updated than the one I saw before. A range extender, 50% off a Netgear range extender. Might be an interesting move. Fortunately, I don't need it. Just continuously scrolling down. If you want an Amazon Kindle or a Fire tablet or something like that, now would be the time to buy those things. Certainly. I really don't have time to shop while streaming. I do much better to just finish the stream and get back to shopping for the rest of the day, which is what I plan on doing. Actually, I really can't do anything right now. The internet's messed up, and there's just a lot of uploading that needs to happen, so once the internet is not messed up, I still have a lot of work to do. Discover secret. And that.
Repent.
Draw some cards. Quickly. Kevin Sutra has a blog, Time Manipulation in Unity Recorded Solutions. This is a programmer blog that I don't think most people would be interested in unless you're interested in programming. If you're interested in programming, it might be a little bit interesting, but I think it would be pretty top level information too. This isn't like a entire step-by-step tutorial. So you're gonna have to work within that element. Just taking its sweet time, game. Why don't you just draw the cards a little bit faster? I won't mind.
Repent.
Let's see. Next article we have, is this gonna load? Eurogamer, the best Prime Day 2018 deals on games and beyond. Particularly looking at Eurogamer's coverage of that is not going to be helpful for me. There's a lot of lists here that are just text-based links to things.
My hand is too full.
But yeah, I don't know which of those things are things that would be available to people in the United States. Job's done. So yeah, the sales probably are different. And arguably, Amazon would have been better had they done a different Prime Day in different countries. That way you don't have everybody hitting the service at the same time. I guess it really doesn't matter too much because one assumes that they're going to Amazon.co.uk in Europe, and if there's other Prime Day sales like in Japan, it would be Amazon.jp, and so all those websites theoretically would be different websites selling theoretically different products. I don't know how much actual connection between the different services there are, considering you'd have to ship the products across the world if it's bought in one country and being sold from another, and that certainly does happen, but I don't think that's by default the way things work for everything. Job done. And see, there's another PC Gamer article. Our favorite budget gaming laptop is $150 off, which still makes it $899. I misread this article and thought it was $150 in total, and yeah, then it would have been a good deal. Certainly. Ignoring buying hardware and physical things, PC Gamer also has the Humble Store is having a Pixel Perfect platformer sale. The sale runs for a week. So Cuphead is 20% off for $16. Rayman Origins is $7. Limbo is $2.50. Let's see. Candle is $5. Trine Enhanced Edition is $2. Let's see. Cluster Truck is $7. So there's a decent number of games there for sale at the Humble Store. If somebody wanted to pick those up and then send me the Steam code, that would certainly be wonderful. Direct message it to me on Twitter if you'd be so kind. I doubt anybody will agree to that, but
your magic shall not save you.
I'd love to have Cuphead, certainly. That's one game that I wanted to cover as it was coming out, and it was just a little too expensive, and I really couldn't afford it at the time. Guess I'll keep on playing. I made progress on everything. And boy, do I have a ton of pages that are just talking about the Prime Day sales. I think we've talked enough about Prime Day. It's time to move on. We probably talked too much about it. Again, I want to point out that right now the internet is just so messed up. If anybody's chatting, I'm not seeing it. Apologies. If you have something that you really want to ask, put it in the comments when this video is done, or on a comment on a different one of my videos, and I'll respond to those as best I can. But right now on my phone, it's just disconnecting from chat and reconnecting from chat, and I'm not saying anything. Yes, according to Game Master, the Disgaea for smartphone teaser trailer is available to see. Disgaea 1 for smartphones, I assume, is what they're doing. That's my guess. Maybe it's a completely separate Disgaea game specifically made for smartphones. I believe there's a chance, I'm not sure it's been confirmed, that they're going to do a Disgaea game of some sort for Disgaea 1 on Steam, because I don't think they have that right now. And this teaser trailer is certainly a tease. It's not showing much of anything. Although, frankly, because it's for a cell phone game, it's not going to show much for anything anyways. Because that's just not how things work.
Engaging TC-130 mental dislocation.
Moving on. I already talked about the Resident Evil 4 fan remaster being almost finished and being available for download. I'd say grab the download now, because who knows. I'm in a weird position with Resident Evil 4 because I think Resident Evil 5 ran choppy too, and I think Resident Evil 6 ran choppy. So I think all the Resident Evil games ran choppy, and I just have this in my head thought that Resident Evil 6 actually ran well. Or no, I know Resident Evil 6 ran well, but Resident Evil 5 ran well, and I don't think that really was the case. I think maybe 5 was running good pretty for the most part at the beginning, but then it got choppy later. So as part of this HD remaster, they talked about the 4GB tool, which I've already mentioned, that you should use that on 32-bit programs and games so that they can use 4GB of virtual RAM instead of 2GB of virtual RAM to maybe improve them. I still don't think you would, by default, should just enable that and use that, but I could certainly see it being useful if you're already having problems.
That didn't quite hit
And the
mark.
4GB patch tool is its own separate thing that works seemingly with any 32-bit program. I'm gonna need to play around with that. Gematsu has an article. Inazuma 11 Aries details soccer matches and Toy Link. Inazuma 11 is a soccer anime that they're making into a game. It's a kids show from best as I can tell, and so it's going to have a Toy Link of some sort. I think when I saw it, it was more of a kind of bracelet type thing that might just be a step counter. The game Inazuma 11 is, from what it looks like to me, a RPG based soccer game, so your stats probably have to be up high enough to win the soccer game. It's not just a simulation of a soccer game. Let's see. It's called the 11 Band and 11 Licensed Toys. Send training power once a day, get experience points or Neki Ketsu points depending on your teammate. If you transfer SP training power obtained by password, you can get convenience items for the use in the game. Let's see. 11 license.
I wonder.
This.
Reporting for justice.
Do that. Says Neki Ketsu points are points that are required to obtain secret books for learning techniques, as well as items and equipment. Neki Ketsu points are also required for training and practice matches. It seems almost like you can't play some of the game or any of the game without the Neki Ketsu points. I imagine if this comes to the West that there will be different things connected with that, because I don't think that would work in the West. Let's see, Azuma 11 is out for the PS4, Switch, iOS, and Android in Japan this fall, in the West in 2019. And we'll see, certainly, if the Toy Link is part of that, or if that element just gets completely removed.
Uther versus Rexar.
Yeah. The Toy Link doesn't seem like it actually is a step counter or an actual toy. It seems more like you're buying toys and getting DLC, kind of like Lego Dimensions, which that was something I bought a bunch of Lego Dimensions because they're just going on clearance. They're going out of sale, and there's and the price is not great on them even as they're going at clearance. I could probably get better deals if I went around and shopped at local stores and got them a clearance then. but it would take a lot more time, a lot more effort. Moving on, Rock Paper Shotgun has an article in Roguelike Chess Adventure Chogue, C-H-O-G-U-E, you hunt the king. And then it's showing me a picture of a what looks like a MS-DOS based chess game. And it's chess and rogue combined. And you play it in the browser, so this is not really a game that matters to me. The graphics don't look that good. So I guess the idea, the joke is that the king runs off the chessboard immediately, and then you're in this roguelike game where you're going through a dungeon, basically, probably fighting several other creatures. Let's see, we've got a game called Amazed apostrophe D. Amaze apostrophe D. Is this the developer who has made all the other Amaze games that he floods Steam with Amaze games every now and then?
Repent.
Doesn't seem like that's the case, but it might be. Let's see, Amaze D is $3.99, and graphics don't look terrible. It looks like it's a maze of some sort where you're walking on tiles and avoiding traps. This is the first game from this developer, so it's not the same developer that makes the Amaze series. And it's the second game from this publisher. And I think in an effort to just kind of save myself some time, I'm gonna wishlist Amaze apostrophe D and just keep an eye on it. Probably won't get it ever, as it looks pretty good, but I kind of question that. So I need to keep an eye on it, see what the reviews say about it. 14 more Paladin cards need to be played. Gematsu has an article, God Wars 2 has been announced. Not to be confused with God of War 2, which was announced a long time ago. So this is a sequel to the Japanese Legends and Folklore themed tactical RPG God Wars. The first entry in the series, God Wars Future Past, was released on the PS4 and PS Vita in June 2017, followed by the Switch in June 2018. So one could probably assume that it is coming out for the PS4 and Switch when it comes out. But you don't know that for sure. It could come out for the Xbox too. It could come out for PC. A lot has changed recently in the minds of Japanese developers on what platforms they want to support. Next we have a Eurogamer article. Nintendo bans the Splatoon 2 cheater who hacked the game to ask Nintendo to ban the cheaters. So there was a cheater that hacked the top players leaderboard that said please add anti-cheat, and they banned him. Now I think this is kind of a somewhat pedantic issue, because I think in the original story even the hacker said I don't care. Yeah, here's the quote: Nintendo, you're welcome to ban my console anytime. My purpose was to call attention to the current issues. And by calling attention to the issues that they don't want to deal with, they took him up on his offer and banned him. Kind of unsurprisingly. Man, if I could have just played one more. But I couldn't, so kill that. Meanwhile, if I was ever to get around to playing Splatoon, I'd probably be the only person online, and so it's a game I'm gonna have to abandon any hopes of ever playing, just on the fact that I'm probably never gonna get around to having a Switch in a timely manner, in a sense that I didn't own a Wii U either, and so a lot of the Wii U games are getting re-released for the Switch, so it would make sense to buy an old Switch once the Switch 2 comes out and get some of the collection that would have built up. Of course, I have such a backlog on PC games, I don't think I'll ever have time to really get around and play a Nintendo game. I think Nintendo is just going to be a no-go zone for me. Plus, you can't stream it on YouTube because they content ID and claim everything. Eurogamer has an article. Blizzard says their Overwatch new systems are improving in-game behavior. We'll see how long that lasts, and if it's true, then great. We found a system after thousands of years of trying to improve people's behavior. We finally found something that works. And that's basically what they're saying, and I'll take that with a grain of salt.
Repent.
Let's see, I'm looking at what looks like a first year computer programmer project type game. It's a finished project certainly, but it's not visually appealing at all. It's horribly small pixel graphic characters. You're running around platforming and shooting at things. It's kind of like a Spelunky clone if Spelunky was really, really bad.
Repent.
Your magic shall not save us.
Yeah, I don't think this game is worth even mentioning, but I'll say The Amazing Adventures of Lady Fanny Featherstone is 20% off for $3.19. It just doesn't look high enough quality. And it's from a developer who's made several games and listed them, and they've just not sold enough to even be reviewed. I heard from, I think, Northern Lion, the YouTube streamer's podcast, that some people on Reddit seem to be upset with the new popular releases section. I wouldn't have thought that really anybody would have been upset with that, but I guess there is somebody out there that is. Because I thought that was a pretty fair way to improve the experience for people trying to actually see games that they're interested in. And while
Repent.
I could see how it could feel like that they are making it even harder for small time developers to get any views or impressions, inherently I have to go back to the fact that Valve has never been an advertising market. Unlike YouTube, where YouTube was both supposed to be promoting your video and hosting your video, Valve clearly has made it as best as they could that they are just hosting your games and doing the DRM and handling the sales. They are not your advertisement market, so you should be advertising in other directions. And I'm kind of glad that Valve doesn't seem like they're really advertising or pushing games.
The light has betrayed me.
Sorry, I'm yawning. Here we have a game called Outside the Lines, where it's a competitive player where you play as a crown trying to compete and shoot each other in a top-down shooter. It's kind of an interesting thought. It's free, but I don't think it's a fully thought out and fleshed idea of a game.
Reporting for duty.
You probably only spend a couple hours on it and then get bored and leave. Let's see, we already talked about that. I don't think I'm playing very many Paladin cards, yeah. See, I still need like 19. Next game we have on Steam is called Bleeding Sun. It's tagged RPG Maker. And well, the trailer is kind of fancy and it says it seems to be set in a feudal time Japan with ninjas and all. The game is just an RPG Maker game, and that is still a problem. That still tells me it's not tier level quality. Interesting also, while it's a feudal Japan story, the languages are English and Portuguese Brazil. So, like, that's not Japanese. And I kind of could tell that from the animation style too that they use. This is not a Japanese animation style, this is a Western animation style. And so I don't think they're gonna hit the story on the head. Like, I'm not gonna go into a longer argument and say that non-Japanese people can't write stories about a Japanese character. That's ridiculous. Artists can write anything they want. Whether or not somebody else wants to read it is a different issue. But it does give me an indication of poor planning, particularly when you top that off with the RPG Maker being used as your engine. It shows a lack of effort and attempts to just be a also ran type game that might accidentally trick some people into getting to purchasing it. Moving on, Gematsu says we have a new Naku Koro ni title and Yumi Niko no Naku Koro ni Saku. So those are two games. New Naku Koro ni title is one, and then Yumi Niku no Naku Koro ni Saku. Probably visual novels, if I was to guess. Possibly a story of two characters experiencing the same events from different perspectives, or the same time frame from different perspectives. As I scroll down, Nakikoro ni is When They Cry series. So, and
must move quickly.
So yeah, if they had translated that to English, the new When They Cry series, those are visual novels, I believe. Let's go ahead and end this turn. Eurogamer. Why am I getting so many Eurogamer articles too? What is going on with my Twitter that I'm started getting articles from people I really don't want to get articles from? Eurogamer has an article, the Microsoft's classic IntelliMouse review. Now hardware is getting the remastering treatment. So the IntelliMouse has been remastered to be the same shape basically. But maybe with less buttons, or slightly smoother or improved button layout. Probably not a lot changed.
The victory is yours.
I really don't need to read a mouse review, so I'm gonna just move on. And we're getting wins. You cannot deny that. Need to kill more minions. We've got a game on Steam called Bring the Light, and this thumbnail looks like the character is, the main monster is a xenomorph, or at least heavily inspired by a xenomorph. But this is a VR puzzle horror game where you're bouncing light. It seems like that's the main gameplay mechanic when you're not, it seems like mostly just walking around in a escape the monster horror dungeon. Yeah, I'm not sure how many people want to play VR games, and I think the percentage of people that want to play VR games is significantly reduced when you ask them, do you want to play horror VR games? And while the environments seem very claustrophobic and closed in compared to most VR games where you're outside in a generic field, still feels like there's not a lot in the environments. Bring the Light is $19.99, and it seems like it requires VR, but it's one of these games that doesn't have the warning that requires VR, so Steam is very off and on about whether it applies those warnings. Also, I haven't seen anything labeled early access with the early access badge today, so maybe I just haven't seen any early access games. That's kind of surprising, but whatever. Maybe people are going to stop doing the early access thing now that they're getting the blue badge of shame. Next game we have on Steam is called Immortals, which seems to be like a... They're saying it's a fast-paced fighting. And it's a SLG. I don't know what SLG means.
Let me think.
Single level game?
Put this apple on your head.
Yeah. It seems like you position your character, and based on where you position them, that's how they can attack in turn-based turns. This kind of has a feeling of an RPG Maker game, but it really isn't made with RPG Maker. It's its own system. It's not a pretty system. And inherently, when I combine confusion on what this game is with the fact that it's not pretty, I don't know how I could justify even wishlisting it. Immortals is 20% off for $30.19, but for me, I think it's gotta be a pass. This is the second game by its developer. The previous one has no ratings. Like, a lot of the games that are old that have no ratings also imply that even before Discovery 2.0 happened, a lot of people weren't buying these games or seeing them. Even the Discovery 1.0 was, I think, doing its job pretty well. And frankly, I'm not sure Steam has ever actually flooded for the average consumer's experience. If you're just going to the front page, I don't think you were running into a lot of bad, low-effort games. I think the problem was heavily exaggerated by people like Jim Sterling. And the reality of the situation was much different. I could be wrong, though. But the indication when I see these really old games that are a year or two old, and they have no reviews, that means something. Next game we have on Steam is called The Strangers. It's an indie action adventure horror game according to the tags. The thumbnail looks like garbage, but then the trailer of it looks pretty good until they cut away drastically from the character because they didn't want you to see the horrible graphics they have for the people. or they didn't cut away fast enough. So you still got at least a silhouette or outline of the way it looks. So this game, The Strangers, is $1.99.
The battle.
I need to destroy monsters. Keep reminding myself to do that. So, yep, I'm not interested in The Strangers. Let's see. Your Gamer has this weird article called "The U.S. Town Ruled by an AI Storyteller." Let's see. Sheldon County tells the story of a fictional American town and the people who inhabit it over the course of 150 years. It is the result of two programs that run in parallel. Pin, which simulates each day and night in the history of a fictional American county over 150 years, and Sheldon, which in turn shifts through the accumulated history to find interesting storylines and dramatic nuggets that have actually emerged over the course of the simulation based on narrative patterns authored by Ryan. So it's almost... It's story writing done by AI. Interesting. It's an interesting idea. I don't know how much this really has to do with video games though, or why Your Gamer is talking about it. Like, this whole article has nothing to do with video games. It's not linking to any game. This is just an experiment being run by a PhD student in University of California, Santa Cruz, and apparently it gets turned into a podcast called Sheldon County that you can see on SoundCloud. So why is Your Gamer talking about that at all? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Kill this guy. Kill a few minions. See, this is part of the reason why I don't like reading Your Gamer articles, is because they're not even video game articles. But the next one I have is a Your Gamer article. The Culling 2 Battle Royale flop forces difficult decision about the future of the developer. Just 2 active users in the last 24 hours. So almost certainly what's going to happen is that the developers and the studio is going to get shut down for the Culling 2. It probably was already decided before they even released the Culling 2, but sometimes when firing people, meaner managers will say, well, if you can release this and you can get 1 million sales, then we'll keep you open. But that million number is always way higher than is realistic. And just to see if they can get people to work really, really hard before they fire them. And even if they did get 1 million sales, though, then they still would have been fired. So, yeah. It is what it is. The Culling 2 was a bad game. And I haven't heard a single person say anything really nice about it. I wasn't going to play that kind of game anyways, but whatever. Moving on, PC Gamer, episode 3 of The Council arrives later this month, which I guess means I'm one more episode closer to actually being willing to buy The Council. Once the story is fully complete, I will probably buy it, even if it's pretty bad. Let's see, here we have a game called Unborn, which seems like a joke game where you play a sperm trying to reach an ovum. It's indie casual simulation is what they say it is. To me it looks like it's just a joke single screen Unity game, not doing much. 16 achievements, $1.99. sense. Not really worth talking about.
I must move quickly.
Let's
Put
try
this apple
this.
on your head.
Do this. I'm very surprised by this news from Gamatsu, because I was really not thinking that the side-scrolling action game Dead or School was going to come anywhere but PC. It looked like it was more of a anime girl with deteriorating clothes fighting zombie game like Oni-chanba, and that was just all it was going to ever be. And it would come to PC, and everybody would have their kicks from playing it, and then that would be it. But apparently, before it's even been released on PC, it's also coming to PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. And one assumes it's already early access since July 11th on PC. One assumes that this is coming to the West too, because you wouldn't really try to make this game for the Xbox if it wasn't coming to the West. Although, maybe you do. Maybe even in Japan, if you've already ported it to PC, it's just so much easier at that point to say, well, I've made a PC port, it's only one more step to make an Xbox version. There's really not anything new to be said about Dead or School. It's still a game that I kind of want to see reviewed before I would play it, but it certainly is already in my wish list. I'll double check. Right now, it's got 49 user reviews and it's 95% positive, which is an incredibly high amount of positivity. Which I assume this is because it's selling itself on what it is. The thumbnail has that deteriorating, ripped, torn up shirt of the girl protagonist, and so everybody knows what they're gonna get and everybody knows what they're coming for. It's I want to destroy more things. PC Gamer has one of these articles, the futile search for a single message in Far Cry 5. Subtitle: Far Cry 5 is tonally confused, but it has a lot to say in isolation. I think inherently the mainstream video game media, who are extreme leftists, wanted to, at least extreme leftists for the United States, they wanted an extreme leftist message in Far Cry 5 because it was set in a mid-America, what you would assume is a conservative area, and they wanted them to just, I don't know, call them all country bumpkins and make fun of them throughout everything. And instead, they told what could have been basically a fantasy story set on a different planet in a different time. The setting really didn't mean too much, and the story they were telling was, I think for the most part, kind of a standalone, sort of unique story. Probably not that good of a story, but very much in line with the bad stories that Far Cry 4 and Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 2 and 1 had. I think the entire series has been pretty consistent. Even Far Cry Primal probably didn't have that good of a story. The story is not key. If you're playing a Far Cry game, you're playing it because you want to do the missions and the craziness that Far Cry is known for. And the journalists were hoping for something more, in the same exact way as they were hoping for something more in the Wolfenstein 2 game and didn't get it. They want these games to come out and basically say F Trump, and nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna risk potentially alienating half of their audience that may actually support Trump. And it really is just they want political messages against Trump more than anything. And so yeah, I think Far Cry 5 has been unfairly criticized and unfairly reviewed and focused around the story when in the same stuff that people have just not talked about the gameplay. And I'd like to play Far Cry 5 and review it myself from a more appropriate video game reviewer's stance, reviewing it for what it was compared to Far Cry 3 and 2 and 1 and 4, and report it in a vacuum, disassociated from political views. Moving on, we have a game called Dies Irae. This one's an odd spelling. The first word is D-I-E-S, which could be DS. And then the second word is I-R-A-E.
I will fight with
so, Irae, maybe? Dies Irae, Amantes, Amentes, coming to Switch September 27th in Japan. That almost sounds like Latin. Dies Irae, not Japanese. That's probably what threw me off there, is it's actually Latin they're speaking. Let's see. It's coming to Switch. It's already on Steam. It's a Japanese visual novel.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
Let's go to the Steam page, I guess, and see what they have to say about it. Rated very positive with 282 reviews in the last 30 days. 84% positive.
I must move quickly.
It's tagged as visual novel, anime, adventure, violent nudity.
Let me think.
Let's play. There's no less than 4 trailers before you can even get to a single screenshot, and it's easier to look at the screenshots. This is one of those animes where at least one of the characters is vaguely dressed as a Nazi, without having the actual swastika on his armband. Every single one of these screenshots looks very well drawn. Not just the character in the foreground either. There's entire effects and things. Oddly though, I'm not really seeing I'm not seeing an interface for the visual novel aspects. They seem to have stripped all that out. And this game is free to play, but then I assume there's a bunch of DLC. Actually, 2 bits of DLC for $20 for $40. So I imagine. It says the common part scenario can be played as a basic free of charge. In order to play each heroine scene, purchase of DLC is required separately. That's an interesting way to sell your visual novel and charge quite the premium for it. DLC generally does not go on sale, or if it does go on sale, it's generally not on sale for as much as the base game. Well, I guess I kind of need the wishlist list just to keep an eye on it. See if this becomes immensely popular. It's not a name I've ever heard before. It's also the only game from this developer on Steam. Speaking of Steam, TechRaptor has an article. Steam is delaying the release of adult games until new filter tools are in place. So, inherently, this might be a backdoor like ban, because Steam could easily just never release these filter tools at all, and people wouldn't complain about it as loudly. At least this is not the direct, we're pulling down games that we've already approved on our store like Honey Pop. And in fact, let's be fair, the game Mirror, which has a thumbnail of an anime girl tied up in bondage ropes, has been on sale as a like tops, that second row of games that are on sale on the front page for the past week for $1. So like they've been actively promoting one of these style games, so I don't think that's what's really going on here. I don't want to immediately assume that something nefarious is happening, although this is kind of hurting people that planned on releasing a game. On the other hand, we did see a game that was just like Steam directed, that had straight up nudity in the cutscene in the trailer. You just by going to the page, there was hardcore pornography, animated hardcore pornography happening in the trailer. So somebody did push it too far, but they didn't respond by saying, really doing anything about it. I assume that video got taken down at some point. Let's see. So the Sunrider developer, Love and Space, tweeted, "We've now been updated by Valve in regards to Shining Song Starnova. The summary is that they are working on new features to give people more control over the content they see, and Shining Song Starnova has been identified as needing these features in place before it can go live on stream." Now, that seems rather unfair, frankly, because in the meanwhile, everything else is perfectly fine to be shoveled on the Steam with very little oversight. Like, I would feel a lot better if they had said that your game has been tagged with these trailers, with these thumbnails, with these elements, but we will let you release it with, if we take out this part on the trailer with these screenshots, and we'll just stick with the nudity tag. That being said, maybe Shining Song Starnova is the most hardcore of games that's been put on Steam, so maybe there's a reason why they're drawing the line with them. Of course, this is so TechRaptor followed this up and reached out to more developers, and several of them said they had received letters from Valve detailing they were working on new tools that require additional information to be filled out when the new system is implemented, confirming that this is affecting all games in the genre. One developer directed me to the Boob Saga, which has unable to get approval to release, causing them to have to delay their release. And then TechRaptor says we have reached out to Valve for comment, and they have not replied as of time of writing. I like seeing phrases like that in a video game article, because that's actual journalism, and that doesn't happen much. And then they say, if you're a developer impacted by this, please reach out to us. So yeah, I guess I've seen visual novels with nudity get on, but I'm not sure I'm not sure how often I should have been seeing straight up sex games on a weekly basis. Probably I wasn't seeing a lot of them before because I didn't realize I wasn't seeing them. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. The Bossa Studio, BOSSA, announces Give Trump the Finger program. Will be donating money to charity. So the developers behind Perfect Date and Worlds Adrift have announced the Give Trump the Finger program. The program sees 100% of funds from Surgeon Simulator donated to a UK charity, which without information on which charity it's going to, like, I don't know how much you want to support that. It seems like the game is not on sale. If you wanted to play Surgeon Simulator, you're not getting the write-off. Surgeon Simulator has a free Inside Donald Trump DLC that was added back in 2016. Currently it's playable on PC, PS4, iOS, and Android, and costs $9.99 on PC and $12.99 on PS4, so those PS4 people are paying more. I don't know why you do this. Well, like, in the end, it's the wrong way to market your game. It just is. If you lose one sale because of this, you've lost one sale, and you've created bad feelings around your game, and you're probably at this point not going to gain a single sale on this program because you didn't make the game on sale, you didn't reduce the price, you're not releasing any new content, you're just saying you're donating the money to some nebulous UK charity, which I assume Bossa Studio is a UK company, and that's why. Like, you would have done so much better just to stay silent. And so many video game companies and CEOs, Randy Pitchford, for example, is a great example, just would do better staying silent. The creators of Firewatch would have done better staying silent, but they chose not to. Anyways, we're already over 15 minutes. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.